So now it's the day after. We started with this little video about how to make terasiggilater. The terasiggilater stood here, and it's the same time the next day. I have a line here on the glass, and that's usually where the solids come up to, the big particles that are separated out. And I can see that it's about there again. I don't know if you can see it on the video, but there is a slight line here in the clay. And once you've done this in a glass a couple of times, you learn to mark it off so you can see if you're getting the same amount out every time. But that's the way it is. There's one thing I didn't mention in the other video. When I fill up with water, I use warm water. I don't use cold water, and I don't use boiling water. I use just warm water. It's as if the clay mixes up a lot better in that temperature. This is the nasty part of this here. I usually get a mouthful of clay. So I'm going to try and explain what I'm doing until I have to suck in this thing. I'll stick this down in the glass, and I can see that where it's reaching down just above the line, about 2 centimeters above the line there. And then what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to siphon it out and down in these glasses underneath. Yeah, didn't want to come that time. Didn't want to come that time. Sometimes you have to do this a few times before it gets going. Now it's going. Keep an eye on keeping that where you can see the tubing on the side of the glass. Keep that above the black line. It can come further down now. And here we go. That's it. So I don't know if you noticed that when we started out, there's a little bit of water on the top, and there's still a little bit of water here on top here. So the water on the top we haven't took with us, and we haven't took the solids on the bottom. There's still a little bit. We could have siphoned a little bit more off, but I don't like getting too close to that area because then you start getting solids up. If it's really running fast like it was there, it'll start getting some of the solids up, and I don't want that. So I'd sooner waste a little bit of the clay and know that I've got a good quality terasiggilater out of it. So let's wash off a little bit here. Okay, that's the siphoning out part. Then what I do is I take the glass in the kitchen and wash it out thoroughly so it's completely clean to next time. These glasses here, they'll get washed off like I did with this one, just wiping off the access and underneath as well. Get the lid on, and the same with the other one. I always run my workshop this way, that I always clean up after myself, so when I need to use it next time, it's all clean. This will go out in the kitchen and get washed off as well. So now what we're going to do is we're going to look at what we do with it afterwards. I'm going to bring the camera around. So there we go. And we'll take some of this with us. Here, get the extra light. Now this is where I do all my decorating. And just to show how you make the colours in the terasiggilater, because this terasiggilater here, you can put that on just like it is, and if you're firing raku or something like that, and you want to use the terasiggilater as a base to get a nice smooth surface, that's fine. But if you want the different colours like I've got here, you have to mix it yourself. So you can buy, I'm sure you can buy a coloured terasiggilater if you want willing to pay for it. I have this system where every place on the shelves has a number, and in my book every side has a number, and the recipe for each colour is in that side. If I have a colour that I'm not completely happy about, or I want to change a little bit, like this one up here, that was a simple colour that I just bought some stain and used that. And for some of my colours, I'm just using stain. You can see there's a lot of difference in the size of the glasses. That's why the glass gets the number, because that's what we're going to put it in, and that's what we're going to mix it in every time. So that's the glass that's got the number, and the recipe will fit that glass and not that glass there, which is bigger, or that one there that's smaller. And what I do is, this one I've decided it's a nice colour. It's a nice colour for things like old wooden trees or something like that are more grey brown than anything else. But I thought what I need to do, I need to make a variation on that. And the other browns I've got, you can see this one here is very dark and that one there is dark. And I've got a light one over here. But I thought what I'll do is I'll make a variation on this. And I'm not, I have a weight over here that I can weigh things on. And most people say, oh, you put this, you know, so and so many grams in. I don't do that. When I'm doing it, it's just like cooking. You have your own way of doing things. I take either a whole teaspoonful, which is not piled up, it's just like that. Put it in, because the original recipe is 1 teaspoonful. So I put that 1 teaspoonful in, and then I'm going to want to change it. I have all my stains up here in the boxes, so I've took out what we're going to use today. I want to make it kind of between this and this. So I need, instead of it being all grey, I want a little bit more brown in it. So what I'm going to do is, I've got iron oxide, and I'm going to put what I think will make the change, and that's about half a teaspoon, maybe a little bit less. There. Put that in as well. The iron oxide has a tendency to make either a really red brown or a really dark brown, chestnutty colour. So now I've put that in, and what I'll do is just wipe the spoon off so I don't accidentally put it in something else. There we go. Then what I'll do is I'll pour the terasiggilater in until right about here, where the bulb is in the bend is in the glass here, just below the bend. And if this had been standing for a long time, I would take the fan brush and run around in it with it, so to get it all mixed up. So that was that. And then I've got a fan brush that's stiff. It's a little bit better than the other one that I was using the other day. This one is mostly for watercolours and this one is mostly for oil colours. So I like the little bit stiffer ones if I'm mixing things. And I put it in. I don't know if we can see the side of the glass here. We can make it so it can. You can see as I turn around, the iron oxide will get wiped around on the glass. And the idea is that we need it all brought together. We don't need, there we go. We don't need lines on the glass. If there's lines on the glass, you're not finished stirring it up. See, sometimes it takes a little bit of time to get it all stirred up, but you want to be sure you're getting the exact same colour every time. You don't want it sometimes to be darker or lighter, and you need all the oxides and all the stain have to be totally mixed in, so they're not getting any stripes in it. Otherwise your terasiggilater is going to have stripes in it when you put it on stuff. And you can see the way it's covering here. That tells me that it's okay. There's no spots or anything in it. It's all smooth. So oh, I forgot to bring some water over here. Let's just wash it back off. Now what you need to do if you're going to be making terasiggilater and you're going to be making a lot of different colours is to do like I do and get yourself a glass. They're just from jam and marmalade and stuff like that. I won't know until I've run a test plate on this if it's exactly the way I want it. You can never tell. So what you do is, until I get a test plate burned, I don't use it on anything that's important. I just make a test plate, put it on that, and when I get the results of that, then I can start using it. If it's for this colour here, if I thought the finished result was still too grey, then I put more iron oxide in. And if it's too brown, then I put less iron oxide in. While we're doing this, I'm not going to put it on anything today. It'll be standing down here underneath until I get a test plate ready for it. But we're going to talk a little bit about what you should use of brushes. Usually when if I'm only putting on minor things like my figures, I'll use a reasonable sized Chinese brush with the bamboos and everything, because it holds a lot. And when you're working with terasiggilater, it's a good idea to have plenty of it in. This is fine for working a little bit bigger areas. And then I have calligraphy brushes. They're very thin, they still hold a lot, and they're good for the details, eyes and that kind of thing. Real good details in windows, the panes in the windows, you can get it in the corners without getting it up the sides. These calligraphy brushes, I usually buy 4 or 5 at a time. And these ones as well, when you put one colour on a thing, after you've put that colour on and there's nowhere else on the figure or the plate or whatever it is you're doing, there's nowhere else that colour is going to be used, then you wash it off, and normally I've got water in this here when I'm working. I wash it off and I dry it off on the paper. Make sure that there's no colouring coming out. If there is, I wash it off more until there's no colouring coming out. And then put it flat down. I never leave a brush like this in the water or in the terasiggilata, because it will shape them like that. And it'll be hard to get that out. There is a way of getting it out, using really hot water. But it's best if you don't misform them. They're kind of fragile in a way, but at the same time, if you treat them right, they'll last for ages and ages. That's the brushes that are major for me. If I'm working on something big, I've got a mop brush in one of the other containers up there. If it's a big vase or something like that, then I'll use a mop brush on it. That'll hold a lot more. But you should do that there. You should make yourself good, just a flat piece of clay, you know. And then sometimes I'll use making pricks in the clay at the top to give it a number, and sometimes I'll just take the black terasiggilater and put it on the dried clay before I burn the terasiggilater test. So that way I can see what it is there. But most of my colours, you can buy stain. I've got 2 boxes of stain up there, and then I've got 2 1 kilo bags of the colours that are really important. The sun yellow and the lemon yellow are really important, because making the green colours like this one, you're not going to be able to buy a colour like that one. And what I do is I make variations on it, like this one here or some down there. What I do is I put the green that's most green, I put that in the jar first, and then I put a lot of yellow, usually golden yellow. I like the effect of golden yellow because it's a warm colour that comes out. If you're using lemon yellow, you're going to get more like this colour. It's not as warm. And something you'll notice when you fire the things that have got terasiggilater on, after they come out the oven, is the colour will start to change. The figures, when I want them to have yellow hair, I put in this yellow colour on here, which is this one, and it has a slight green stippling in it. When it's fired and it comes out the oven, I've put it on figures. The first ones I put it on and I finished firing, and there was still about 80 or 90 degrees in the oven. I looked in the oven and they'd all got orange hair, and I thought, whoa, that wasn't very good. And I just took everything out, and they were standing out on the table beside me there outside, and the colour started to change, and it became more the colour that I wanted, the blonde hair. So you have to experiment with this, and you have to find out what colours am I going to use. And the stains are reasonably expensive. The small bags with 100 grams in here are costing about 100 kroner a piece. And the ones with really expensive stains in, like the blues and stuff like that, or the red and orange, they're really expensive. You're looking at the double. So what I do, I can't do the red and the orange because I don't have cadmium, but I can do the blues myself by using cobalt or cobalt carbonate. And so that's what I do. I'm doing this one here is cobalt oxide, and that's a light blue, a reasonably light blue. Nice colour. And if I'm using this one, this is also cobalt. It's a dark colour. That depends how much you use. You have to remember that the terasiggilater is white, so it's going to have an effect on the colouring. But that's pretty much it. I hope you've got something out of seeing this, and that you'll give it a try making your own, because it's so expensive today to buy finished products, and there's really no need. It's so simple to make. Start with some basic things. One really green, a really good yellow, a really good blue. If you've not got cobalt is expensive. Sometimes you can rustle it up a little bit cheaper, but it's around about 800 kroner a kilo. So it's always cheaper to buy larger amounts. You know, if you're really making a lot of ceramics like I, it's cheaper to buy it in the larger amounts. The black, it's always good to have a black. It sets things up. If you've got 100 gram of black stain, you can fill a glass like that up a lot of times. So, and you know, when you're using terasiggilater, you're not using very much. Even though you put on 3 layers, you always put on 3 layers, 3 times, go over everything 3 times. Then you get the full colour. If you're just putting it on and, oh, that looks okay, you're going to get stripy stuff and that's good if you want that. But if you want a flat, even colour, then 3 times. So, and you're going to have